What? Oh, you're following me again today. Come on, don't start me. What's up, everybody? Testing, testing, one, two, three. Can y'all hear me out there in the world? First and foremost, I want to give my apologies. I wanted to start sooner, but I forgot that I had some maintenance and stuff that I wanted to get done. So, all right, all right. Sounds good. All right, so yeah, welcome. Okay, hold on, because this is gonna bother me right now. But welcome everybody. Happy Monday. We are back. We are live, and we have finally broken the slump of not being able to make it here in person on Mondays. Um, for the last few weeks, it's been one thing after the other, and haven't been able to get here. Oh, come. All right, hold on. There we go. So we haven't been able to get here in person, but we finally got here, and but then I forgot that I so every month we do maintenance days, right? So these aren't like when you do patches or updates. That happens every week. But we pick like one Sunday or one Monday. What's going on, Ty? One Sunday or one Monday out the month where me, uh, will either come here and either do like a full deep cleanup, or some type of maintenance that I like. Let's say I notice something and I order something I want to upgrade on the PCs or whatever. So I'll pick a day where I'll come in and get that done. And I wanted to do it yesterday, but yesterday was I wasn't able to get that done because I had to finish up my taxes. I'm The last few years I've been procrastinating. Usually I get my taxes ready to go first thing, but with hey man, it was like shoot, I mean, what you thinking about? But yeah, I didn't. But the last couple of years, because I do my taxes individually, and then I have my taxes for the center, and that's all still relatively new because I've never had a physical space, and then so there's a lot of different things you have to do with the depreciation and get all this other stuff done. So we so it it's been a process on top of trying to work and all that other stuff. So anyway, yesterday I had decided I was gonna sit down. I got up early and wanted to make sure I got it all done, and it took me all day, so I didn't get a chance to come here yesterday. And then today I wanted, well, for maintenance this month, I upgraded the RAM on all the PCs. So the RAM came in for most of them. So I got here today and basically, you know, installed the new RAM, had to do some troubleshooting because some of it didn't take, and then finally it did. And then while I was in there, I figured I might as well clean up the PCs. I don't like, obviously you don't want to collect the PCs to collect a lot of dust. And we usually do like every other week, we'll open them all up and, you know, get the blower and blow them out, wipe them down and stuff. So I figured since I was already opening them up for the RAM, let me just do that now. Um, and yeah, so that's why I'm late today. So my apologies. But like I said, we got that stuff done. But Ty, you talking about thinking about some things. I'm thinking about one. I'm thinking about like some other projects I'm looking to do, and um, thinking about automating like the open and close process here, right? So I'm thinking about you know setting it up to um, one of the voice bot things, and automating that whole process. So, walk in and say, open up, right? Computer, open up. and let that start the process of turning on all the PCs. And then the PCs already have their batch scripts that run at startup to make sure everything is check for updates for everything. Turn on all the lights, all the outs, the center lights and stuff, and then for shutdown, same thing. Close up, shut down the PCs, shut down the lights, and then I actually got a Roomba the other day thanks to Fat Kid Deals on Twitter. I found a Roomba that's normally goes for about 280. I got it for like $60. So so that I'll probably have that in the automation process as well. I was thinking about the amount of knowledge network admin wise and sysadmin wise to be a top notch pen tester. Man, hey, look, I want semi self employment. Again, you don't have. We keep having this conversation, man. Like, you don't have to know everything, right? I just exactly what you were just saying about the sysadmin part, right? That's how I felt when I decided I wanted to get into pen test. I wanted to make sure I knew everything there was about help desk, sysadmin, and and stuff like that. Oh yeah, yeah. What's up, Thumbstick? Yeah, I know. That's why I said I'm thinking about that, but I'm trying to think about how I would go through that process. I would probably program it with a name like a wake up name that isn't very common. That was my thought. That was my thought process as I was installing RAM. Happy Monday, by the way, man. Hope all is well. Yeah, man. As far as you don't have to know everything, man. You really don't. Um, you really don't. All right, so let's see. We're gonna try to get through all the Burp Suite today. And as far as the self employment thing, I mean, shoot, you can find self employment doing the stuff you do now. Just it's like I say, obviously you're not. If you're talking about semi self employment, then you're not talking about something that's going to be like your primary source of income, right? Man, find some find some small businesses, find some community centers, find some, go and just go in and offer what you can, right? Offer a decent rate. Um, One of the things that we started doing is we go into a community center once or twice a month and sit and just kind of basically it's like we're there on retainer. We sit there and if anybody at the community center from the senior citizens or the kids or whatever, if they have any questions about their if they have any okay, if they have any questions about their their device, their technology, then we sit then we'll work through it, right? You have a lot of senior citizens who want to work with don't know necessarily how to do like Zoom meetings or video calls and their families in another state or another country. And we don't charge the senior citizens, we charge the community center, right? So we find ways to do that, man. Like, so there's ways to do it, man. Like, I've been thinking about going around my plaza here and just offering like some basic security services, for whether it's basic pen tests or phishing or whatever, to some of these or trainings to some of these plaza the people here in the plaza. So there's ways to do it, man. Like I said, and I mean, honestly, you can like I said, you can offer stuff based on what you have too, man. So again, you don't it's not it honestly, what I've learned the last couple years from from dealing with the center and opening up the business and stuff is honestly, if you wait to know everything, you'll never get anything done. Thumbstick, yeah. Sometimes it's better to not know everything. Just become skilled at learning what you don't know. Facts, right? Like I've learned that like failing forward is indeed like real. So don't feel like I have to know every single thing before I take that step. No, take the step and learn as you go. Like trust me, I didn't know jack about have opening up a space when I did, right? All the other businesses that I've either had or that I know people who ran, they were either running it out of their house or they were running like a service-based business. So they were either doing like landscaping or they were a cleaning company or like, you know what I'm saying? So they didn't have much advice to give me as far as how to find a space. And when I tell you, like, it was a learning process. I mean, going through the process, I never had to go through. I never rented a space before. I never had to do any type of. I never did any construction or work on a commercial space. So that's really what kind of held me back from opening up when I wanted to, right? When I got the center, I got the center in February of 2003. I signed the lease February 2003. I wanted to open up in May because the plan was I was going to go to MomoCon that weekend because it's usually Memorial Day weekend. I was going to go to MomoCon. I was going to pass out a bunch of stuff, and then I was going to open up the day after Memorial Day. So from February to May. So what ended up, so we came in like gangbusters, started running cables, doing all of that, painting and all of that, and we weren't quite ready to be open in May anyway. But when we got to a certain point, trying to remember what happened. Uh oh, they asked me if I had my business license, and I was like, yeah, I have my. I thought my sales and use tax and stuff and all of that and my EIN and all of that. So I was like, yeah, I have my business license. And they're like, no, do you have your business license for the space? And I'm like, no, I didn't know I had to do that. So now they're like, okay, you did all this work on the building before you brought in the fire marshal to do an inspection and all of that. And see where the mistake was, the landlord, um, the landlord or I should say the landlord's representation said that it was all taken care of, right? So I think there was also a language barrier issue. So, but the landlord's representation was like, oh yeah, it's good, and anything you need to do, just send us a request and we'll approve it. So I'm like, okay, so hey, we want to paint, approved. Hey, we want to install some wall panels, approved. Hey, we want to put floating tables or floating desks for the PCs, approved. Hey, we want to build a stage like a small platform. What are the measurements? We gave the measurements. They said, hey, is it going to be wheelchair accessible? I can't remember the actual the law, but we say, yeah, we have a ramp, approved. So we did this whole thing, and then we were like, yes, I think we should at least be ready to open. And then we'll go as we'll go along and finish up as we go. And I want to say somewhere around April, I started learning that there was a whole bunch of other things I needed to get done. So now I needed to have the fire marshal, and then the problem was the fire marshal, um, the city didn't have their own fire marshal. So now you had to go to the county. So you had to contact the county's fire marshal to have to schedule a time to have them come down. And then once they come down, they give you the okay. Then you have to go back to the city, and then we'll go back to the city, and then they have to have their own inspector come in. And of course, all of this costs extra money. Um, and go through that whole process. And then, of course, when the fire marshal came, that's when I learned about fire rated stuff because there were some issues there. So now I had to get that fixed. And then I called a guy who said he knew what he was doing. He came by, he patched the holes, but but they weren't up to code. So now so now he did it up to code for residential, but not commercial. So now the fire marshal came back and was like, nope, that ain't it, boss. So now I was like, all right, well, what do you need? So now I ended up having to go to Lowe's myself. It wasn't, the cables are plenum rated, but for the fire rated walls, they're basically double sheetrocked and insulated. So what happened is the landlord or the previous person in here um, punched a lot of holes in them, and that's not up to the fire code because the fire rate because it has to be a solid wall or it has to be patched to their standards to be able to withstand the fire rating, right? So if like basically if the fire rate I forgot whatever the rating was for the wall, but basically the idea is let's say the fire rated walls for 8 hours. Basically, it's supposed to say that the structure will stand for about 8 hours, even in fire. Oh, I'm just ranting, Eric. No problem, no problem. But anyway, my point, Ty, is that I had to learn all of that on the fly, and it was an expensive thing to learn because I'm still now at this point I'm paying rent. And I'm not generating any revenue. I'm not gonna say any. No, I'm not generating. At that time, I wasn't generating any revenue because at that same time, I was also registering to be a vendor in the county. So no, I'm at the center today, Eric. I actually made it. I actually made it to the center today, but I started late because I was it's update day. So usually one Sunday a month I do we come in and do like deep cleaning and updates and stuff like that. So yeah, man. So my point to you, Ty, is sometimes, man, it's best to just learn as you go, right? Like it because if you sit back and keep going, I'm gonna wait till I learn all there is. I'm gonna wait till I learn, and then even when you're learning, what are you doing? You're learning something, right? Like we not to call you out, but like the other day, you were doing some stuff on bug bounty stuff, you and then you saw some stuff on SQL injection, and then you did a deep dive into SQL, right? Or you'll do something and you'll see something about Python and you'll do a deep dive into Python. So if you continue to wait till you think you know everything, you'll never get to where you need to go, right? Like there's so much that I'm learning from this side of gaming that I didn't know, from the other side, right? Like hosting tournaments. Man, the most I used to know about hosting tournaments was, look, we got some consoles, whatever, y'all come here, we do this, we do that. Now you have to get in tune with the community. You have to, you're trying to align schedules. The last time I tried to, the last major L I took in the tournament space, I tried to run a massive summer tournament, and it was the weekend of I can't remember the name of the tournament, but it's the one down in Florida, right? So I'm like, yo, we got this tournament. I done spent all this money on advertising. I done took some money in, oh, here's the prize pool. Like I have like food. Like I was doing it, trying to do it big because I'm like, yo, this is gonna be a big summer tournament, and I was hoping to kind of generate the not even so much the revenue, generate the attention. And I remember like I had just got all the Discord channels and all that, and I'm hitting all everybody up, and they were like, yo, why would you do it? Was it CEO? Was it CEO weekend? Let me see. CEO was yep, it was CEO weekend. So CEO is like one of the big fighting game championship, um, and it's held down. It was the last year it was down in Daytona, and I underestimated how big CEO was. Right, like I thought, we could still do a local, and everybody was like, nah, we're going to CEO. I done blocked off this time for the center and all of that, and then it was like, nah, we're going to CEO, and I obviously couldn't do it. So my point is, man, sometimes you just have to go. You have to just kind of learn, man. Like everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, but sometimes getting punched in the mouth is necessary. All right, so I've been ranting now for about 20 minutes. So, all right, so like I said, so today we're going to try to get through Burp Suite as much as possible. So as we're going down and learning more about application security and application security testing, you're gonna start hearing about a lot of different tools. One of the tools you're gonna hear the most is Burp Suite. Is you're gonna hear Burp Suite, you're gonna hear OWASP Zap, and then there's another one called Kaido. But Burp Suite is by by far the most popular one, the most common one. Is probably the one that's most used in organizations everywhere. So, so Burp Suite is an integral part to application security, especially if you're on the offensive security side of things and you're pen testing, or doing anything with applications and code. All right. So Burp Suite is a testing framework, and it has a bunch of different tools. But the main purpose, the main tool with Burp is its proxy, and a proxy is considered a proxy like a go between. So how Burp Suite works is it creates a proxy between your machine and the application that you're reviewing or testing. And as you send requests to the machine, it passes through Burp Suite, and Burp Suite passes it on your behalf. And then as the requests come back, because remember we talked about that client server process, when it comes back, when the information from the server or from the web application comes back to you, it goes through Burp Suite first. Burp Suite the proxy picks all of that information up and then sends it back to you. And then it's in that proxy process that you're able to do a lot of your testing, right? So now you're able to kind of see the requests and the responses. You're able to actually pause the response or pause the request as it passes through to see different things. This is where you're going to get a lot of your testing from. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. So again, Burp Suite is a Java-based framework that serves as a solution for conducting web application pen testing. It's become the industry standard for hands-on security assessments for web and mobile applications. Like I said, basically anything application-based you can use Burp Suite for. Okay, and then also applications that rely on application programming interfaces or APIs, which we're going to get into later on down the rabbit hole. So like I said, with Burp Suite, it being a proxy, it captures and enables the manipulation of all traffic between a browser and a server. All right, the fundamental capability of the forms of the backbone of the framework. By intercepting requests, users have the flexibility to route them to various components within the Burp Suite framework. So that's what I told you. You're able to intercept it, basically capture it, and decide what you want to do with it. Okay, so you can intercept, view, modify requests before they reach the target. Okay, so Burp Suite has a free version. There's a community edition, and then there's the pro edition. Um, the pro edition is basically the community edition with some stuff unlocked. Okay, so the community edition is free. You can use it however you want to use it. But the pro edition has some advanced features. So, for example, the Burp Suite Professional has first and foremost, it does a lot of things faster. So the free edition, anything that you need to do as far as like using any brute forcing or anything like that, it's going to be very throttled, meaning it's slowed down intentionally. The professional version makes things a lot faster. The other thing that you can do with the professional version that you can't do in the community edition or the free edition is actually like save your projects for future use. So in an Appsec shop, or even when you do bug bounties, you're going to want to save the project and come back to it, right? So like as certain things happen, and then because you're able to save that project, you already have a lot of the scope and the target information in place. You already have a bunch of the URLs. You've done a lot of, so you don't have to basically reinvent the wheel every single time you test this application, especially if you're an internal AppSec shop. You don't want to have to every single time fingerprint and touch every single URL. You just want to focus on the new ones, or you just want to focus on the new portion of the application. Well, if you already have the project saved, that will allow you to do that, because now you already know, okay, this is the new stuff. We already have this stuff here, whatever, right? So you can't do that in Burp Suite Community Edition. Community Edition does not allow you to save projects. It also Burp Professional also allows for integration with other tools. The Community Edition doesn't. Most importantly, the Professional Edition comes with a vulnerability scanner, an automated vulnerability scanner. Community Edition, you can't do that. Now, I will say there are features in Burp Suite community that, like, for example, you can go to the B App Store and you can actually install plugins. And it'll give you some functionality that you can get from Pro. Like, so for example, there's a plugin called Turbo Intruder, and that speeds up the intruder process, which is on par or almost on par with the pro version. However, they also limit that too. There are some plugins and some tool add-ons that you can't get without that professional license. And then they also have Burp Enterprise. So Burp Enterprise, this is like for continuous scanning. It's an automated scanner, and it just, you can kind of set it to run periodically. So this is similar to like tools like Nessus or Qualys or anything like that, where you can automate a lot of this stuff. So it says, which, unlike other editions which allow manual attacks from a local machine, Burp Suite Enterprise resides on a server and constantly scans the target web application for potential vulnerabilities. So you don't really use it like Burp, the free version of Burp or Burp Pro, right? You put it on a server and it continuously scans. And then my assumption, because I've never used the enterprise version, is you'll probably then so you'll see it, you'll have it on the server, you'll get the information from the server, and then you'll go to your machine and probably validate to make sure that the finding is indeed legitimate and not a false positive. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead. We know the answer is Burp Suite Enterprise. And then Burp Suite is frequently used when attacking web applications and mobile applications. All right. So now, features of Burp Community. So we talked about this already. That Burp Suite does come with a lot of tools. So the first and foremost, you have the Proxy. That enables the interception and to modify request and response while interacting with the web apps. From that proxy, you're able to use other tools. So now you'll have tools like the repeater. So now the repeater allows you to capture, modify, and resend the same request multiple times, right? So you'll use the repeater like if you're trying to craft specific payloads, right? Whether it's SQL injection or something like that, to check to kind of see what works. If you're API testing, you can use repeater to see if you when you make subtle changes, what happens, right? So remember the other day where we showed you like if it was like API slash user one, right? You could run one repeater instance to say, okay, what happens if I go user two, user three, user four, user five, right? And then you can set up another repeater instance to say, okay, now what if we switch from user to admin or user to users or whatever the case may be. So basically it allows you to do that, and it kind of just makes you it allows you to repeat that request and see what and compare the differences. Then you have intruder. So this is it says despite rate limitations in Burp Suite, because that's what we were talking about is bottlenecked. Intruder allows you to kind of spray endpoints for requests. So this is like if you want to fuzz or brute force a target. So for example, let's say you know the username, but you don't know the password, and there is no rate limiting or limit to how many times you can try to guess the password. You can run a password list in Intruder and just automate that to run, which is a lot faster than having to type every single one yourself. Same thing with passcodes or like pin codes or OTPs or multi-factor authentication type stuff. I actually got into a user's account because I was able to use Burp Intruder to brute force their one time password they got from their MFA process. Okay, decoder. So decoder basically decodes any captured information. So any type of encoded payloads or anything like that, you're able to use decoder to try to kind of basically to decode it, right? So if you see base 64, you can copy and paste it, move it over to decoder, and then tell it to decode and look for base 64, and it'll decode it. If it's WRL encoded, you can use decoder for that as well. Comparer allows you to compare two pieces of data at basically at well, it says at the byte level. So like what I like to use with comparer and sequencer, for example, is like if I'm passing certain information, I like to use compare to kind of see where the changes are, right? And is it a change in the is it a change in like the UUID? Is it a change in whatever the case may be? And you can just you can use it, and like I said, it color codes it as well, so it makes it easier for you to see where those changes are. And then sequencer is just basically to check the randomness of the tokens, right? So if the session cookie. So for example, you would put the session cookie in and see if it's random or if it's something that's kind of not as random. All right. And then, like I said before, you have the Burp Suite extender or the marketplace. That's the B app store that I was telling you about. Not answering that. All right. So let's see. We have the answer to this one is Proxy. And then which tool would do that? Brute force we just talked about. That would be Intruder. All right. So to install Burp Suite, you would just go to their download page, and we'll actually go through the process of installing it. Right. So here you see there's the Burp Suite releases. You have all editions. Then you have professional, community, enterprise, CI/CD driver, and then Dastardly. Dastardly is actually their dynamic application security testing tool. It's like a scan, another type of scanner. So remember, professional is the paid version, and I believe it's is it $475 a year for the license. Enterprise is their enterprise version. I don't know about their CI/CD driver, and I think Dastardly is like a GitHub. You could actually put it in your code repository, and it'll scan it from there. All right, so we want to use the community edition. So to do that, we'll just go ahead. Oh, this release introduces the ability to scan Postman collections. Oh, that's cool. So we'll just go ahead and hit download. Like I said, it's really cut and dry how to install Burp Suite. So once it's done downloading, if you wanted to do it in your Kali or your Linux box, you would download it and then just kind of go to the directory, which would usually be Burp Suite Community, and then then the subfolder Burp Suite Community, and then you would install it that way. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm just gonna run this, and then I'm gonna change my screen so you can see my whole window instead of that. So we're gonna go here. I said we're gonna go here. There we go. So now you just want to hit Burp Suite, right? So it's gonna save here. You can tell it where you want it to save. It's only taking up 406 megs, so it's not even using a half a gig. You'll just hit next, and then what you want here, this is the Burp Suite Community Edition. They'll extract the files. What's the goal for this week? What's everybody working on this week? Me, I'm going to, like I said, I have a talk on the 26th, so I'll probably get ready for that and stuff. All right, so as you can see, it's done. I'll wait for it to load up. Come back here. We'll just share this, right? All right, so now we went ahead and we started up Burp Suite. Here, you just kind of accept the terms and conditions. Oh my gosh. And now you have Burp Suite. So remember what I was saying before? If you Burp Suite Pro allows you to save, it's all grayed out here, so you can't even make any changes here if you wanted to, right? So it tells you no, disk-based projects are only supported on Burp Professional. So if you wanted to save a project, you would have to spend the $400 to $500. But if you're going to be doing web app pen testing or bug bounty hunting, honestly, if it pays for itself, it really does. If you work for a shop, if you work for an Appsec shop or a pen test shop, let them pay for your license or let them provide you with a license. If you're doing it solo, like I said, $500. Most you can probably get that paid for with one bug or one small web app pen test. So here you have, if you want to use Burp defaults or if you want to load a configuration file, which we don't have any, then you can set it if you want to disable any extensions or default to whatever in the future. And then you'll see it says it's starting up a project. Oh, why does it keep doing that? Doo-dah, doo-dah. All right. So now you have Burp. So now you see there actually comes with a lot of stuff than back in my day. But here, if you just want to kind of jump into getting started, you just hit start. Here's a video tour. They do like a guided video tour to kind of show you how to use it. There's the Web Security Academy, which we will be using when we move further down the rabbit hole. There's also some other tutorial videos to kind of use Burp's features if you need to contact their support center or if you want to follow them on Twitter. Okay. Here you'll see this is the Burp dashboard. So this is where you'll see a lot of the information that you pass through when you're connected to when you're connected to the proxy. It'll start to you'll see this will start to fill up here, and then as you do that, you're able to set your targets and set your scope. Okay, here you'll have your task configurations. Here they already do a passive crawl, like we said before. The professional version comes with a vulnerability scanner, so you would see that. Here would be your target information if you needed any more. So your sitemap, your scope. So remember I said here you'll see some stuff here. Actually, I take that back. This is the dashboard, so I don't know if you'll really see so much here. But here you'll see information. So you'll automation stuff will populate here, and then you can set your scope. So here's where you can set certain URLs or certain sites that you want to specifically look for. You can include it in the scope, or you can exclude certain things from the scope. Right. So for example, if you're working on an application and let's say you're testing in prod, which you should always try to avoid testing in prod unless you absolutely have to. But let's say you're testing in prod and they have a couple URLs that will that will call for payment processing or whatever the case may be. Let's say that's out of scope or that's not allowed. You would put those URLs in here, and then as you're moving through burps, as you're moving through the stuff, anytime that URL pops up, it won't get populated for you to test. Here you have your proxy. You can turn the intercept proxy on or off here. Sometimes you don't want to necessarily have to. By turning on the intercept proxy, every request you make will come back and have to get intercepted first, and then you'll have to approve it passing through. You don't do that for you're not going to want to do that for every single request or response you get. So turning it off will just allow it to, it'll still get recorded, but it won't get stopped and paused. Like it won't pause on the way, but it will get recorded. Then let's say you intercept something, it comes through, and then you need to move it. You can just hit this to forward it, or you can hit this to drop that request. Okay. Here's the intruder stuff that I was telling you about. If you wanted to do an intruder, what you would do is you would go back to your request section, and you would right click and then send that request into intruder. Same thing with repeater. Collaborator is a tool where you can, if you want to interact with something like a DNS, like if you interact with an external service or something like that, you can do that here through Burp Collaborator. Here's the sequencer. So remember, if you wanted to check that again, you're not going to see there's not much you can see because it's empty. We're not even set up to proxy anything right now. Then you have your comparer tool. Then you have a logger. So this will log all your stuff. Burp organizer. So that stores and annotates messages that you might want to look at later. And then here's your burp extensions, right? So if you wanted to look at, remember what I was saying before, here's like different add-ons and different tools that you can use. And you'll see here, some of them will say requires Burp Suite Professional. So you can't use it. And actually some of them, in order to use it, you'll have to download what is known as Jython, which is Java and Python, and then you would include that. All right, and then if you wanted to go learn, this is where we are again. We're back here. Okay, so now we have that. Let's go back to our screen here. So we went ahead and, like I said, we went through the process of installing on Windows. we'll probably go through the process of installing on our Linux box at a later point. All right, so we're done there. So now here's the dashboard. So remember we talked about the dashboard. Um, so once you go into the dashboard, you accept the terms and conditions, which we did already. Says you may use the pre-installed Burp Suite command in the attack box. So let's go ahead and start. Well, we did start the. Did we start the? Oh, we didn't start the attack box. We started the target information. But so when you go here, we'll actually just use the Burp Suite here as well. But you'll see you have the tasks. So we showed that section before. Um, then you have your event log. So that's if when any scan when it does its passive scanning or in the Burp Pro version, any findings that it thinks it may have found or any vulnerabilities it thinks it may have found, you would see that uh, you would see that in that section. Hey, what's going on, Big Set? All right. And then same thing with your event log. That just kind of that will give you any information on how Burp is working. So that's your that would be like your activity section. And then lastly, you have your advisory section. So this is going to give you more detailed information on any vulnerability. So let's say you found a vulnerability like this one, and there's cross-site scripting. If you were to click that, you would see the detailed information in the advisory section. All right. What menu provides information about the actions performed in Burp Suite, such as the proxy? All right, so that would be the event log. Oh my gosh, event log. All right. So the next section is just navigating through Burp Suite. Again, we just kind of went through that with the walkthrough. But here, and I guess I should have elaborated on that a little more with the sub tabs. Now that I see it, let's go back here. So here, like I said, so remember, so here you'll see you have the different tabs. These are your main tabs. So your dashboard, target, proxy, intruder, repeater, so on and so forth. Right. But then down here you'll have sub tabs. So, for example, we had the proxy and we talked about the intercepting, the forward function or whatever. Um, so that was one sub tab. But then here's the next one. This would bring up any web browser history or HTTP history. If there's any history for the web sockets, you would check that too. And then lastly, you have your match and replace. So here, if you wanted to make any specific changes to items, you could do that here. All right, and lastly, you have your proxy settings. So that's the other sub tab. So here, proxy. This is where you would configure Burp Suite to work with your with. Why did it stop? I hate. I don't know why it's not playing nice today. Where are we at? Where are we at? Is it this one? Negative. Let's try this one. No, it's not. Okay, fine. It stopped working. All right, so we'll stop sharing since it doesn't want to work. Let's go back to our box here, and we'll just share it from Try Hack Me. So anyway, but yeah, like I say, so there you have your sub tabs. While on the subject of tabs, if you want, let's say you wanted to detach it from that main Burp Suite module, you could actually go ahead and open up that window, click the window option, and then you would detach it. This is extremely helpful. Like if you want to, basically enlarge the screen, or you want it to make, whatever you want to make it a separate window. You can do that. Sometimes I'll do that with like my repeater and intruder. I'll detach the window and use it separately. In addition to being able to do that from that section bar, you could also do it from shortcuts. Or so these basically like almost like shortcuts or macro keys, right? So for example, if you wanted to do dashboard, it would be Control Shift D, target Control Shift T, proxy Control Shift P, intruder Control Shift I, repeater Control Shift R. Okay, so we just said that Control Shift P would be the proxy tab, so we know the answer to that one. Okay. All right, so options. So when you go into the options, here, let's go ahead and start up Burp. I'm not gonna lie, I am exhausted today. I don't know. Mondays, they're cool, but I'm just tired, man. All right, so here we have Burp Suite here in our Linux, right? Same thing that we showed you before in the Windows version. So obviously there's not much of a difference. There's no difference actually. Then if we go ahead and click settings, that'll bring us to this same menu you see here with the proxy information. And then here, if we wanted to make certain changes, we could set the settings for global or project. So when you're setting it for project, obviously it's specific for that project, that test that you're working on, right? Whereas global, if you want to set it the global settings, that would be the entire installation. So that's like changing the configuration moving forward. And like I said, here you can make all your changes here. So again, we kind of showed that before. Okay, here again, you can use settings down here to change Burp's default behavior. Whether you want to just use HTTP1 and requests to the server or responses to the client, these are where you can make all of these changes. Okay, and then here again, if you want to do certain things for the scope, you would do that here. Remember the collaborator, but that's only for pro version. So that allows you to discover even more vulnerabilities because you're using an external service. So you can use the one that's provided by Burp Suite or Portswigger, which is the creator of Burp Suite, or you can create your own instance, and they recommend reading the documentation, as do I. Again, if you want to back up automatically, I highly recommend that, especially if you're on a big pen test, but that's only available in Pro. And then, like I said, if you want to make different changes, you can. All right, so let's just go here. So in the settings, it says on the left-hand side, you can search. So if you It says if you want to do filter for user and project, right? So here again, you have user, and then you have your project settings. Okay, so it says, what category can you find a reference to the cookie jar? I don't know. Okay, which category can you cookie jar? Okay, search, filters, and then your categories. So let's go ahead and close that. Connection, collaborator, project, intruder, repeater, Burp's browser. Collaborator.
the second slam, and then even when Brian's team is out, right? They're not in this event. Brian did coach there again before this event.
Oops.
So a lot of the coaches were super cool about that. They like did extra coaching after the slam was over. And we had the mercenary coaches, is what I call them, the people who were not on a team but helped, which was automatic, Justin Long, and Paul. And they did a lot of extra coaching to help, which was awesome. That's so good. Speaking of,
okay. To a cookie jar.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. I think what that without the drop. Yeah, that's for sure. Look at the posture of the back. It's still strong. And we got to talk a lot of this. I mean, I feel like just keep coming outside. Yeah. But I think he let him every day he boots up his title. Street Fighter 6. That's all it is.
It doesn't say.
And then he boots up and plays Street Fighter. I watch all the time. You know, what's happening.
Intercept does not contain. All right, let's go back up and look. Okay, global settings, blah, 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 project settings. In which category can you find a reference to the cookie jar? To a cookie jar. No. Okay. Fam, I don't know. Go to settings. I don't know. WebSocket modification match WebSocket TLS pass through miscellaneous. Repeater modification redirects. Sequencer.
He spent 500 hours to go to 5 this week. He's a professional. The most fundamental of things in Street Fighter. Yes.
Oh boy. It's taking too long, y'all. Taking too long, y'all. Sessions. It wasn't settings, it was sessions. In which base category can you find the updates subcategory that update? In which base category can you find the update subcategory that which controls Burp Suite's update behavior? Ouch. What base category?
Introducing Microsoft 365 with AI. More power to you.
Jeez. Update behavior. I don't know. Session handling rules, tools. Project, sessions, tools, all. I'm looking. Burp's browser. No, it's not in the browser. Oh, here it goes. Sweet. All right. What is the name of the subcategory that allows you to change the key bindings in Burp Suite? That would be subcategory which allows you to change. That would be in here. So that would be hotkeys. Okay, if we have uploaded a client TLS certificate, can we override these on a per project basis? Yay or nay? A client side on a per project basis? Yay? Yeah. All right. Sorry. Drawing a blank. It took me forever to answer the questions. Okay. At least, like I said, y'all know I'm not reading ahead. All right, so introductions to Burp Proxy. So again, we talked about the intercept request. So if we go here, we turn the intercept on, right? The Burp Proxy allows you to, again, take control over the web traffic, allows you to capture that and log it. It also captures and logs any type of communication to WebSockets. And then it also logs all of that. Okay. You can also set up response interception. So by default, Proxy does not intercept server responses unless explicitly requested on a per request basis. The intercept responses based on the following rules. So you would just check. You would check that here to say intercept responses based on that. And then you have the match and replace that allows you to remember to use regular expressions or to modify certain incoming or outgoing requests. So that allows you to make changes, like if you want to modify the user agent or you wanted to manipulate any of the cookies. All right. So if we wanted to connect, the easiest way, I mean, there's a couple ways to connect the proxy, right? You could actually go in there manually to your browser settings and set it so it could proxy through. Or you could download, you can get a tool called Foxy Proxy. Now that would require you to install or have Firefox installed. Which honestly, if you're going to be doing it, just go ahead and download Firefox. All right. Foxy Proxy is already installed here, as you can see up here. It's probably a little. It's probably like you can't see it, but if you wanted to, but in order to set up Foxy Proxy, so you see here, there's disable, or you can set it to Burp, right? Going back to our Burp setup and our proxy. If we go to our proxy settings, you'll see the interface is set to 127.0.0.1, so that's localhost, and port 8080. So basically, when you set up your Foxy Proxy, let's just go here to options, go to your proxies. When you set up your proxy, you want to set it up to the same thing. So the host name 127.0.0.1, and then the port is 8080. So anything that you have proxied would go through, or anything that you do now would go through port 8080, so that Burp could catch it. All right. So now, when that's done, you would just go ahead and turn on Foxy Proxy and turn it on to the Burp setting. So we can just go ahead and do that. right? So we close that, and now you'll see up here, it's in a little green section. It says it's set to burp. Okay. So now, if we were to, let's get out of settings. Let's go back here. Let's turn the intercept off real quick, and let's just go ahead and see if we can restore session. So now we go ahead and restore the session. And now when we go to look at Burp Suite, we still don't, oh, there it is right there. I was wondering if we had to go and actually do the certificate. But as you can see, it's starting to collect information. Okay, and just in case you think that the stuff was already here, we'll go ahead and we'll clear the history. And now we'll lower this here so you can see it. And we'll hit, and as you can see, it's already auto-populating. But when we hit refresh, you'll see that the information is coming back up. So you see here, you got some stuff from Cloudflare, but you also see here from TryHackMe. So if TryHackMe were to target, we would go ahead and right-click, and we would click Add to Scope. Right, so that's how you would do it there. If there was a request we wanted to send an intruder, repeater, sequencer, any of the tools, we would do that here as well. Okay. And now remember here we have our dashboard. Our dashboard is looking through some of the stuff for the sitemap. See if we can move it over here. And you're getting, like I said, so you see it's populating information. All right, so we're done here. So now we're starting to look through our sitemap. All right, so let's go back here. Go back to our type. We'll go here. Let's just delete all this stuff here because we don't want to see any of that. Okay, so if we wanted to issue certain definitions, we can go in here and give specific definitions that can be detected by Burp Suite. So, for example, like if we wanted to look for JSON web token signature not verified, we can tell it to look for that. If we want to look for OS command injection, we can tell it to look for that. Right? So you would click it. Or I should say, these are all the things that can be detected by Burp Suite. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and go to our browser. Let's go back to our browser, and now it's telling us to go to, let's close this, and now it's telling us to go to http://10.10.187.222. And now we'll go ahead, and it says something called Bastion Hosting. So now if we go back to our proxy and we look for that request, you'll see here's the request. Here's our request information. So as you can see, like we did the other day, it was a GET request to the host 10.10.187.222, our user agent Mozilla, because we're using Firefox. So there's all the information. Now remember, because there's a GET, we're requesting information, we're trying to retrieve information. So there's not anything in the body as far as, and there's not in that request. And then here, you'll see, here's the HTML code for the website that we're looking at. Okay. So now let's see. Here's some more information that you'll see here in regards to the website. So that's the bootstrap information from JavaScript. Here's the scripts.js. So that's another script there, JavaScript script. Okay, so that is, so again, you can see that we're actively capturing the information that passes through here. Okay, and if we wanted to, let's just go back here. Again, now you can see the sitemap information is here. Let's maximize the window and shrink this a little bit. All right, so now it says we'll be using this a lot through the module. So honestly, what we probably should do, visit every other link that is linked on the home page and check your sitemap. All right, so what we'll do is, since this saying that this will be here, what we'll do is we'll go here and we will right click and we'll add it to scope. It says you have added an item to the target scope. Do you want Burp Proxy to stop sending out of scope items? We'll just go ahead and hit yes. So now what we're doing is we're telling Burp Suite to give us all the stuff that is associated with this, with the one that we just put in. Okay, so now we'll just go to our products. You'll see here. So now we'll just go ahead and click through some of the links. Contact us for details. There's a get in touch. That looks interesting. I'm pretty sure we'll probably look at that later. We'll hit the About Us page. Look at all the people. We'll go back home. We'll click the About again. And what we're doing is, while we're doing it, what we're doing here is we're just making sure that we get as much information on the website as possible. Okay, so here, come back. We'll go back to support, submit query. It's going to tell us that we're looking for that information. Contact, get in touch. Again, we're just clicking. We're clicking the stuff, right? So if we want to look at the different users, we'll click those. Click those. Okay, so we got everybody. Now let's go back to our products. Let's check we'll check our VPS. We already did that. Manage hosting. We'll just do that. Okay, we'll close that. Web design. And like I said, usually, again, it's a little bit more, it's a little more organized than this, but just for the sake of the training and going through, but we're just kind of rushing through it. But I said, you're definitely going to want to make sure you're checking out all of the links. Okay. So now that we've done all of that, we'll go back and we'll check the sitemap again. And here you'll see we have some information here. Right. So now as we clicked all the information, we have our request headers, we have our request information, and then we have our responses. Okay, so we did that, we did the about. Funny thing is, we didn't do the privacy one, but Burp passively, when it did its passive spidering of the passive fingerprinting, it noticed this. So if we wanted to do that, we would just go ahead and we can go back and look for it if we wanted, which is down here at the bottom. We go ahead and click privacy. So now that we clicked it, you'll see it's no longer grayed out. And when we check, you'll see all that information. Right now, here's the products page. Remember, we looked at all the products. If we wanted to, when we went to the support page, it went there. About, remember, we clicked all the users, gave us that information. But if you look here, here's one that kind of auto-populated. I don't recall clicking it, but if you look here, you see the request was made, and then the response is giving us a flag, so we can just go ahead and copy that, and we'll paste that over here. All right, so that is how Burp works, or the proxy works, right? You make sure you turn on the proxy. The proxy is configured to communicate with Burp Suite's proxy, and then you just browse, right? You browse, and as you browse, you're going through certain things. And like I said, because we set our target URL, we're going to get information that's all related to 10.10.187.222. All right, so now you have the Burp browser. So the Burp browser is fairly new. It didn't come with the older versions of Burp, but what the Burp browser does is it allows you to use your own built-in browser without having to create that proxy. Right. So remember, so instead of having to go to Firefox and download Foxy Proxy and install Foxy Proxy and all of that, what you can do is you can just open up this browser. So let's go ahead and close this. And what we'll do is we'll actually delete the history, so you don't see the history anymore, just so you can see what we're talking about. And now here you see you can actually there's a thing here that actually says to open browser. So if we open up the browser, what will happen is boo, your operating system does not support Burp's browser running with its sandbox enabled. You can allow Burp's browser to run in the sandbox disabled by going to settings, Burp browser, and allow Burp to run out of the sandbox. Do we want to do that? Okay, fine. Create a new user and run Burp Suite under a low privilege account to allow Burp browser to run without issues, or we can go to settings, tools, Burp's browser, and then where it says allow Burp to run without a sandbox, we'll just check that. And now if we go close out of here, and now we open up the browser. Come on. I'm tired, y'all. There it goes. So now you see Burp's browser has just opened up. Actually, it opened up twice because it was just slow. So now, if we go to 10.180? Jeez, come on. Stop. All right, what is it? 10.10.187 HTTP 10.10.187. Oh my gosh, I keep .220. 10.10.187.222. Burp, 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 burp. Got it. HTTP 10.10.187.222. There we go. So if you want to look here, as you can see, let's go back to our proxy and our HTTP history. So you see what happened is, have you used VulnHub for machines? Yeah, Ty, I use VulnHub. I use VulnHub for their vulnerable machines. Absolutely. But if you look here, as you can see, you're only getting information that pertains to 10.10.187.222, and that's because we told it that this is our target. So we didn't want anything else. So now here you see it's populating, and it's built into Burp, so you don't necessarily have to worry about, setting up the proxy if you don't want to. I'm a creature of habit, and I still use Foxy Proxy. Okay, scoping and targeting. So again, we kind of jumped ahead before, but if you go to target, like I said, we right-clicked it and we added it to scope. But if we wanted to, we could also remove it from scope as well, right? And then if you wanted to actually add stuff to the scope, you can go here and change it. I'm sorry, did I say Okami SQL? I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah, so if you wanted to make changes, if you wanted to add different things to your scope, like if you wanted to add a new item, like a new URL, you could do that here. If you wanted to add, if you wanted to exclude stuff from scope, you could do that as well. So, so again, this is where you would make those changes if need be. Okay, so now it says we added that, and then it says change the settings to only intercept traffic, which we already did. Now, if you noticed when we've been making our requests, we've only been making them to HTTP and not HTTPS. And remember what we were saying before. HTTP allows you to see things in plain text, clear text, so it's available on the open internet. HTTPS is HTTP but secure, so it's encrypted. So in order to read that, we would need to download the certificate and add it to our browser settings. Okay, so I don't think you have to do that with the Burp browser, but for Firefox, if we're going to use Foxy Proxy to intercept that, we will have to do that. So in order to do that, we would have to download the Burp certificate. Now, there's two ways we can do that. One, we can go, where is it? One, you can download it straight from Burp Suite. I think it has to be. I think you can do that initially, but we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it that way anyway. We're going to go back and open up Firefox, and then when we go to Firefox, we're going to make sure our Burp proxy is our Foxy proxy set, and then we're going to go to this URL here. Not google.com. Come on. We're going to go to http burp./cert. So we're going to go http://burp cert. And then when we go there, you'll see it actually downloads that file. Okay. Now, if we didn't just do /cert and we just went to Burp, you'll see it would go to this website here, which is the Burp Community Edition, and then you would just click CA certificate. Okay. So now when we go into our now that we have that certificate, right? So we downloaded our certificate here. Okay, let's see. Let's just quickly go to our downloads folder. Thank you. I need to be more patient, but let's just go ahead and I don't know. Let's move it to our desktop. All right. So now when we go to our desktop, you'll see our cacert.ber. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into our Firefox settings. So again, it says you can actually do about and then hit preferences. And then when you go there, you can type in certificates and then go to view certificates. Okay. Let's say we didn't know how to do that. Let's just open up this one. We can go here, go into our settings, privacy and security. That's our browser privacy. That's our cookies. That's our permissions. And then you just scroll down to certificates and then hit view certificates. All right. And then when you hit view certificates, down here, you'll see the import button. And you just hit import. And then remember, we saved it in our folder. We saved it in our desktop. So we'll just go ahead and double click that. For this, it's already saying it's already installed as a certificate authority. But what you would do is, if this is the first time, you would say to trust this CA, which is the certificate authority to identify websites, and then you would click OK. Okay, and then by doing that, now you're adding Burp or Portswigger's certificate authority certificate to our list of trusted certificate authorities. So now we'll also be able to visit any website that has encryption enabled. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and close all of that out. So now we would be able to do HTTPS if need be. All right. All right. So it looks like we are best viewers on streamboot.com. Thank you, bot trying to spam and fish me. All right. So now it says we're going to do an example attack. And I figured we were going to go back to this when I saw it. And I'll explain why in a second. So, let's use Burp Pro. I mean, not Burp, Firefox. So let's go ahead and, actually, we could actually just do this. No, I'm not going to do that. I was going to say we could actually send it through something else, but we won't do that. Let's go what it's telling us to do. So we're going to go here, and then we're going to go /ticket. All right. So now you see here's a section, their contact section for their support ticket, where you can do your contact email and type in your query. Now, when I said earlier that I'm pretty sure we'd come back to this, and that was because this is one of the only sections that allowed you to do any type of input on the website, right? So when we were quickly going through it, so when you're quickly browsing and stuff through the website, here, let's move me. Let's move me over here. All right. So if you saw, I kind of just quickly browsed through the website. right? And again, you'll pick this up over time as you do more pen tests or stuff. But you're quickly scrolling through the website, and there's a few things that I pay attention to. One, I'm paying attention to what's up here in the URL. I'm looking to see if I'm seeing what it's referencing. So remember, before I told you I'm looking at the path. I'm looking to see if it's referencing a file. I'm looking to see if there's any type of queries. I'm looking to see if there's any information. Right. Here's another contact form that I probably would have looked at as well to test. Right. I'm looking through all of that. I'm looking to see what is here. Right. So you see products 1. Products 2, right? So immediately I'm looking at product 5, okay. Product 6, 404 not found, okay. Product 7, 404 not found, right? I'm just looking to see what they have. That's immediately what I'm noticing, right? Like I said, so I clicked all of that just to see, what's there, what's not, what I can and can't do. So immediately in my head, when I'm fingerprinting or I'm walking a website, I'm keeping that in mind, right? Or I'm making a note of it, right? I'm writing it down. I'm typing it in my notepad or whatever to say, hey, there's something you might want to pay attention to. So anyway, we get to this ticket here. So the first thing that pops in my mind is, are we able to do some type of cross-site scripting or command injection? Okay. So, for example, right. So as you can see, I tried to type in any type of script tag. It's stopping it. It's filtering it out. Okay, it's filtering it out, so it's not letting me add that in there. So I can't do that in here. Can I do it here? Okay, I can add it in the I can actually add it in the query. Okay, so when we try, let me just make sure that we're not jumping ahead. So what the next thing I would try to do is, well, if it's filtered here, what about Burp Suite? Right? Or what I would do is, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do that. Well, like I said, there'd be a couple things I would try to do. Okay. To see if I can bypass that filter. Can I trick it? Can I encode it? Can I what can I add some other characters? Can I add a cross-site scripting thing that doesn't necessarily, So there's ways to try to trick the filter. So what we would do here is, let's just say we would call it, please subscribe at, fine, I'm not going to do that, example.thm, right? All right, so we'll do that. And then in the query, it says you could just do test attack. Me, I usually just kind of whatever, right? Doesn't matter. But when I go look through it, I'll be able to find it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, I'm going to explain ahead of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on Burp Intercept, and we're going to hit submit. And then what's going to happen is it's going to go, like the request is going to go through, but the proxy is going to catch it. and then when you catch it, then it'll allow us to make whatever changes we want to make to it, and then pass it through. Okay, and then the other thing we'll do is we'll probably URL encode it so that it so it would still try to bypass the filter just in case the filter caught it and said, hey, what's going on? All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to just copy this. We're going to go into our handy dandy burp suite. Let's go over here to our proxy. My gosh, we're going to go to intercept. We're going to turn our intercept on. And now what's going to happen is we're going to submit. And then if you look, the request is hanging, right? Usually you would see cheap viewers on streamblue.com. Thank you again, other bot trying to fish me. So here you see it hanging. So typically you would see it spin and then it would load up when it got the response. So what you see here with the intercept on, you'll see, look, it's a post. So remember, we're inputting information to the ticket URL. We're using HTTP 1.1. The host is 10.187.222. User agent, so we have all that information. Then you have the blank line, and now you have, look, there's our email information that we put. Please subscribe, and then you see it's URL encoded. So %40 is the URL encoding for at, right? And you can look that up online. And then same thing with content. Here's all of our information that we typed in here for content. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to say, before you pass this off, we're going to go ahead and hit paste. And then we're going to highlight. Oh, no, that's not it at all. Okay, fine. It's not going to let me hit script. And then we're going to say alert. And then we're going to get our parentheses here. And we're going to get our quotation marks. And then it's going to say successful. I'm sorry, we're using Leet Speak. So successful XSS. And then we are going to close out our script here. And then we're going to highlight here. And then we're going to hit Control U. Control U. One more time, Control U. So we actually triple encoded it, but that's fine. Right? So now when we pass it through, we'll hit, let's see if we can move this down, and then we'll hit forward. We'll hit forward. Oh, I'm sorry. We did that wrong. Duh. We did that wrong, guys. I put it in the body and not the thing. So we're going to go ahead and turn off the intercept. And then the query was submitted. So we got to do that again. Okay. Turn on the intercept. We're going to submit our query. And then this time, we're going to pay attention and do it right. Because it was the email section that was bad. So we'll just go ahead. Oh, we passed the original ticket. Okay. So we'll go back to our intercept. And then instead of that, we're going to type in what we were supposed to type in. which was okay. So we're going to type in script. Ouch. Script alert. Successful XSS. And then we're going to close out our script tag. And then we're going to highlight the whole thing and hit Control U. Ouch. And make sure again, so now we're in the email. So we have all our stuff and it's all, everything is URL encoded. Did we make sure that we didn't? Yep. And now to see what happens when it's URL encoded, you just you can we highlight it, and then if you hover over it, you'll see it gives us our payload. Okay, so now let's go ahead and minimize this again. You see our request is still hanging. We'll hit forward. Okay, hit forward. Hit forward. Invalid parameters. That's weird. Why are you not working? It's going to make a liar out of me now. Let's go. Come back. All right. Let's try this again, y'all. All right, let's do exactly what they say. Pen tester at at example.thm and then test attack. All right, now we're going to submit our query. It's going to hang. We're going to go to intercept again. Scroll down here, and this is our pentester.thm. Okay, so now we're going to go here. Email equals script alert successful XSS, and then we're going to close our script tag again, and now we're going to highlight. You know what? And I'm just, instead of doing Control U, fine. Convert to URL encode, right? Because it says Control U. So we're going to URL encode key characters because that's important. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this down. We're going to hit forward. We're going to hit forward again. One more time. Thank you. Why didn't it work before? I don't know. But maybe because did I not? Maybe I didn't hit the. I'm looking at the equal sign. Maybe I didn't do the equal sign before. Actually, let me check. So now here's the great part, right? We can double check. Let's go to our HTTP history, and we'll hit this one. Oh, okay, nope. So it didn't catch what we sent before. How about down here? Nope, it didn't catch what we sent before. Whatever. So we have our successful cross-site scripting. So now we know it's vulnerable to cross-site scripting. So we can go ahead, and then it says it's not a valid email address, which is fine, but we still got our pop-up. All right. So again, that's pretty much it for Burp Suite. There are some other modules. I don't think that's covered in this one, but hold on. We already did that one. Okay, there we go. But as we move forward, I'm pretty sure we'll start messing with repeater and intruder and everything else. So we'll go ahead and hit complete. Okay, why won't you? Hold on, let's go back. Hit complete. Why? I understand. Why won't you? Okay, so we'll hit close. There it goes, finally. All right, so now we're done with Burp Suite. So let's terminate this box. Let's terminate this attack machine. And we have completed our Burp Suite basics. So now if we go back to our learning path, we'll just go here. I don't know why it's hanging. Bad. Let's refresh. Okay, so if we go here to web hacking. So, yep, Burp Suite Basics is now done, which means, I don't know. Okay, so I know last week I said we were probably going to do 2 days of Burp and then that, but what looks like we'll tackle the OWASP top 10 2021 version tomorrow, and then after that we can learn about some of these tools here with Hydra, GoBuster, the different type of shells, and then SQL Map, and then I think that was it. I mean, I think when we get further down the rabbit hole, I think we'll look at CyberChef. But we don't need to look at that right now. So I think we're done for today. So even though we started late and then I rambled for a little bit, I think we're still on a good path. We went through the process of installing Burp Suite, walking through the basic modules of Burp Suite. Maybe if we get back to my PC back at home, I'll show you Burp Pro because I have it installed on my PC there, since I do a lot of application pen testing. And then so I think we're good there with the basics. There's where we'll go. Okay, so when we jump into the junior penetration tester path, we'll start looking at the different modules. Whether we'll look at repeater, we'll look at intruder, we'll look at some of the other modules, and then we'll look at the extensions. So that's when we'll jump into that one. So I'm glad we didn't jump into that room today. So like I said, so I think this is a good place to stop. We're just under 2 hours. I'm going to go ahead and finish up with these other PCs and stuff that I'm working on. And then I'm going to call it a night. And I will see y'all tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate y'all stopping by, hanging out with me. And I'll try to do better tomorrow, y'all. Like I said, I got some more parts coming in, and like I said, I'll try to get here early and get that stuff set up before we go live. Hopefully it won't be too long since it's only 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah, since it's only like 4, it's going to be 4 machines. So that I have to finish up tomorrow, and then like I said, and then we're pretty much good. But like I said, we beefed up all the RAM, doubled up all the RAM. So all the PCs, all the main PCs now run 32 gigs of RAM. The next step is the graphics update. I don't know. I might have to go sell candy or feet pics or something. Graphic cards are expensive, but yeah, we'll get that done. That'll be the next step, and then we will. After that, I think we'll be good. We'll be good. That'll hold us over for a little bit while we're working on some of the next things we're doing. This week, what do we got going on this week? So yeah, we'll be available tomorrow because, like I said, we don't have anything Tuesday. Wednesday is our Fortnite team practice, so we won't be streaming on Wednesday. Thursday I should be back Thursday, and then Friday we have another match. And I know I said I was going to stream Friday, and then I was going to stream Saturday. We tried to stream Friday, and actually what ended up happening was our opponent didn't have enough people to play, so it turned into just basically a practice for us, and we don't stream our practices, obviously, because we obviously were going over strategies and discussing things for that. So that's why we didn't stream Friday. Saturday with our Overwatch stuff, we didn't stream that as either because we didn't end up scrimming like we thought we were. So that's why we didn't stream Saturday. And then yesterday, like I said, I wanted to get some Marvel Rival stuff in, but like I said, I had to get those taxes done, and taxes, boy, taxes kicked my behind. And then the little bit of time I did have after that, I was trying to finish up stuff for my summer camps. Actually, there's a couple other things I need to do. So to get the summer camp stuff, but like I said, I did all the summer camp stuff, and then I was like, we should make it instead of doing like STEM or esports, we should do a STEM and esports. So now I'm redoing the summer camp list. But I think that'll definitely be more helpful to do. Not helpful. I think it'll be cooler. It'll give the kids a lot more opportunities. They can do STEM stuff in the beginning of the day, and then in the afternoon they can get an esports lesson. So they get the best of both worlds. So now I'm just kind of looking over some things I want to do with STEM. Probably do some. Got to get some mini drones. So we'll be getting that stuff ready too, because I got a cool concept for a drone camp, and it just keeps building on it. So I think we're gonna code a drone and then also get certified to fly the drone. So Working on finishing up that stuff as well. So I'm going to go ahead and drop off before I keep yapping and yapping and yapping. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Ty, Big Set, Eric, Thumbstick, everybody else who's been watching. I appreciate y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow. As you can see, the camera starting to follow me again. But I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. So, yeah, y'all be safe. And like I said, we'll jump into the OWASP top 10 tomorrow. All right. Peace out. Be safe. Happy Monday. Have a great week. Talk to y'all later.